On the final day of his three-day visit to the United States of America, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the United Nations Summit of the Future at the UN's office in New York today. In fact, he said, for India, one earth, one family, one future is a commitment. That's what the Prime Minister said today while addressing the UN. He also said global action must match global ambition. This comes a day after the UN General Assembly approved a plan to unite the world to fix problems such as climate change, AI, war, inequality and also poverty. Now, the summit's theme was Multilateral Solutions for a Better Tomorrow. A large number of global leaders also participated in the summit. This event is particularly important as the UN in 2025 enters the 80th year of its formation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has had a power-packed schedule in the United States of America. Just a day ago, addressing thousands of his supporters in Long Island, New York, he on Sunday talked about his party's general election performance. He also highlighted his government's achievements in the past 10 years and also talked about his plans for the future as he repeatedly praised the Indian diaspora. The Prime Minister also met tech giants today and also several other leaders of different countries and also leaders of the Quad group of countries. They've also discussed the launch of a new Coast Guard exercise, a logistics network and expansion of maritime surveillance and several other projects. Let's first listen into what the Prime Minister said today.
Success of humanity lies in our collective strength, not in the battlefield. और वैश्विक शांति एवं विकास के लिए ग्लोबल संस्थाओं में रिफॉर्म्स आवश्यक है। हमें ऐसी ग्लोबल डिजिटल गवर्नेंस चाहिए जिसमें राष्ट्रीय संप्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रहे। Digital public infrastructure should be a bridge, not a barrier. ग्लोबल गुड के लिए भारत अपना डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पूरे विश्व से साझा करने के लिए तैयार है।
You know, what the Prime Minister actually referred today in this climate of the futures is very, very important because for several years now, India's foreign policy and his own vision of one world, one earth, one priority in so many areas is something which has found mention in a sense in what the United Nations is trying to do now as it tries to revitalize itself and tries to reinvent itself with an eye on new challenges, new threats, a new society around the world and the need to perhaps come together more than we've ever seen before. So it's what we are looking at in the United Nations where the Prime Minister was speaking is a pact for the future that includes a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. And why are we actually doing this? This was in fact summarized really nicely by the United Nations Secretary General when he said, and I quote, "We cannot create a future fit for our grandchildren with a system built by our grandparents." So there's recognition within the United Nations system itself that what was created in the Bretton Woods system post the Second World War is no longer as relevant as it once was. So what is it that they're really looking to change? All of it, in fact. Peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, digital cooperation, human rights, gender, youth and future generations and the transformation of global governance. So Vasudha, as you can see, all of this is very much along the lines of what Prime Minister Modi and what the government of India has been talking about for a long time. Look at digital governance, which has been such an important add-on as far as our own government is concerned. Let's talk about reform of international institutions where India has been saying that, look, the United Nations Security Council has to be expanded with India as a permanent member. Look at the entire issue of climate change, which affects billions all over the world, certainly in India. What needs to be done to ensure that global temperatures stick to that 1.5 degrees centigrade. That's something that's found mention in this pact that they're looking to create as well.
Meanwhile, the man accused of raping two nursery school-going girls at Badlapur near Mumbai has died in police custody today. Police sources said that he tried to shoot in the air while he was being taken out, and sources said that Akshay Shinde had managed to snatch the revolver of a police officer and he shot himself. The officer who tried to stop him also got shot as well. The opposition is raising questions over the accused's death, but Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, has said that the officer had to shoot in self-defense. Akshay Shinde was an attendant at the school in Thane and he had allegedly raped the girls inside the school toilet. He was arrested on the 17th of August, 5 days after the children reported the assaults to their parents. An SIT had also been formed to probe the death.
पूर्व पत्नी ने सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट की एक कंप्लेंट की थी. उसके लिए एक वारंट लेकर उसको उसकी तफ्तीश के लिए लेकर जा रहे थे. उस समय उसने पुलिस की बंदूक छीनकर पुलिस के ऊपर गोली चलाई, हवा में गोली चलाई और अपने संरक्षण के लिए पुलिस ने उसके ऊपर गोली चलाई. उसको हॉस्पिटल में ले जाया गया और अभी ऑफिशियली डॉक्टर डिक्लेयर करेंगे, लेकिन जो प्राथमिक जानकारी आ रही है शायद मृत्यु हुई है.
Well, Supreme Court's big verdict on child pornography. In fact, Supreme Court has set aside Madras High Court's decision. Supreme Court has said that downloading child porn on any device is an offence. This is SE's big verdict on child pornography. SE has said that child pornography is an offence under the rigorous POCSO Act, which is meant to protect children. And SE has asked the Parliament to bring ordinance. It has asked the government to bring an ordinance to change the Child Pornography Act, and it has also said that the language of child pornography needs to change, and it should be more suited to represent the abusive nature of child porn, and it should be mostly child sexually abusive material.
The Supreme Court today, in a landmark observation on child pornography, said it is a crime under the POCSO Act and struck down the Madras High Court verdict. A Supreme Court bench comprising Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, and Justice J.B. Paridawala today said that the Madras High Court committed an egregious error in passing the judgment. What exactly did the Madras High Court rule? Now, the Madras High Court observed that while viewing of pornography in private domain may not be an offence in view of an individual's right to expression and privacy, child pornography falls outside the ambit of such individual rights and stands on a different footing. The Supreme Court said the viewing of child pornography can desensitize individuals in the horrors of child abuse, leading them to seek out more extreme forms of exploitation, even to commit acts of abuse themselves. And that the continuous re-victimization through the sharing and viewing of these materials perpetuates the victim's suffering. The Supreme Court observed that storage of child pornography indicates the intention to transmit. Now, while the Madras High Court had said that the storage of child pornography without the intention to transmit it was not an offence, the Supreme Court asked the central government to bring in an amendment to replace the word child pornography with child sexual abusive and exploitative material. The Supreme Court ruling not only asks the centre to bring a law to replace child pornography term and overturns the order that nixed the case against a man charged for watching child porn, but most importantly, it changes the perception of child pornography as a serious offence and as exploitation.
Meanwhile, 3 police encounters in less than 2 months in Chennai. This has raised concerns from the death of key accused in the state BSP Chief Armstrong murder case to history sheeters murder. Questions are now being raised. My colleague Sam Daniel has this report.
Is the Chennai police turning trigger happy? 3 police encounter killings in less than 2 months. The first, Thiruvengadam, a key accused in the state BSP Chief Armstrong murder case. Another, Kakatopu Balaji, a history sheeter. The latest, Seizing Raja, a history sheeter, shot dead just a day after his arrest. Amid frequent murders and other forms of crime, the police encounter killings turned worrying after the new police commissioner in Chennai, Ravi, said the police would speak the language rowdies understand. This after Armstrong murder.
This is a matter that calls for a suo motu interference by the High Court suo motu urgent intervention into these 3 encounters by the State Human Rights Commission, and I appeal to the State Legal Services Authority.
There's a pattern in all killings. The victims of police's bullets were already in police custody, who police claim opened fire at them, and they retaliated in self-defense, killing them.
லக்கியா வந்து அந்த புல்லட் ரெண்டுமே இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் மேல படல, ரெண்டுமே வந்து அவரோட வண்டியில பட்டுருச்சு. ஒன்னு வந்து சைடு விண்ட்ஷீல்ட்லயும், இன்னொன்னு வந்து மிடில் இந்த டோர்லயும் புல்லட் ஹிட் ஆயிடுச்சு. அவர் இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் தப்பிச்சு ஓடுறாரு. இந்த பக்கம் வேலைச்சேரி இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் நின்று இருந்தவர் தற்பாதுகாப்புக்காக வேற வழி இல்லாம 2 ரவுண்ட் ஃபயர் பண்றாரு. அப்புறம் அவர் அங்கேயே கீழே மயங்கி விழுறப்போ அப்புறம் ஆம்புலன்ஸ் வர வச்சு இவரை கொண்டு வந்து அட்மிட் பண்ண ட்ரை பண்றோம். பிராட் டெட் சொல்றாங்க.
27 people were shot dead by the police in the previous 10-year AIADMK rule, including the Thoothukudi police firing. Now, already 16 encounter killings in DMK's 3-year rule. Many are raising concerns over human rights violations in Tamil Nadu. In Chennai, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find TV.
Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. The Tirupati Prasadam Rao has escalated. There are more twists and turns in this episode. In fact, Central Food Regulator FSSAI has issued a show cause notice now to the supplier of ghee that is at the center of the storm. The Temple Trust, meanwhile, TTD, which is the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam Board, has knocked on the top court's door. It has approached the Supreme Court. Purification rituals, meanwhile, were also held at the temple. Health Ministry has also issued a notice to the AP Dairy, which is at the center of the storm, and at the Supreme Court. 2 PILs have been submitted, and both of them seek a court-monitored probe into the adulteration allegations that have been raised, something that the NDTV report has confirmed. Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, meanwhile, has ordered an SIT probe into the irregularities that went on during the YSRCP regime, and TTD has submitted its report to the Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, saying that the ghee was sold at completely unsustainable rates during the YSRCP regime, and that no tests were also conducted for adulteration. Central government, meanwhile, has also issued a notice to the supplier.
Purification rituals underway on Tuesday at Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam after Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu said cow ghee adulterated with animal fat had been used to make Tirupati Laddu. This even as the Laddu controversy reached the Supreme Court. BJP leader Dr. Subramanian Swamy filed a PIL seeking a SC-monitored probe panel to examine what he calls unsubstantiated allegations on the use of animal fat to make Tirupati Laddus. YSRCP leader and former TTD chairperson YV Subbareddy has a similar plea. The VHP wants the apex court to take suo motu cognizance of the adulteration allegations to identify the culprits. This even as the TTD's 40-page report to the government on cow ghee adulteration said there were multiple complaints about poor quality and flavour of laddu. Under NDA government, TTD found poor quality ghee which lacks aroma and taste was being supplied. Suppliers were warned to improve quality or face blacklisting. Even after that, physical inspection showed poor quality. Samples sent to NDTV for testing as TTD lacks testing equipment for adulteration. Testing revealed presence of animal fat, including lard. Expert committee has recommended measures to ensure quality of ghee. It may come as some relief to devotees that there appears to be no conclusive proof that cow ghee adulterated with animal fat was indeed used to make Tirupati Laddu. That's because even though Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has said that cow ghee from AR Dairy Farm had been used for making the Tirupati Laddu, the executive officer of TTD has clarified that the 4 tankers from where samples were sent and subsequently tested positive for animal fat were set aside and were not used for making the Tirupati Laddu. With camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Well, Delhi has now a new Chief Minister. Aam Aadmi Party leader Atishi officially took charge as the 8th Chief Minister of Delhi today following the resignation of Arvind Kejriwal. Now, after assuming office, Atishi placed an empty chair next to hers in a symbolic gesture towards her party chief, Mr. Kejriwal.
Atishi taking charge as Chief Minister, replacing her mentor and guru Arvind Kejriwal. But what catches the eye is the empty CM chair. Drawing a parallel to Ram's exile in the Ramayana that left the throne to brother Bharat, Atishi refused to sit on Arvind Kejriwal's chair.
आज मेरे मन की वही व्यथा है जो भरत जी की थी जब भगवान श्री राम 14 वर्ष के लिए अयोध्या से वनवास पे गए और भरत जी को अयोध्या का शासन संभालना पड़ा। जिस तरह भरत जी ने 14 साल तक भगवान श्री राम की खड़ाऊ रखकर अयोध्या का शासन संभाला, उसी तरह से आने वाले 4 महीने के लिए मैं दिल्ली सरकार चलाऊंगी।
Both BJP and Congress were quick to hit out, terming it a mockery of the constitution.
जब शपथ ले रही थी तब उसकी घोषणा करनी चाहिए थी। आज जो देखने को मिला है सीधा सीधा दिल्ली वालों को शर्मसार करने की कोशिश की, उन्होंने कलंकित किया संविधान को। आप एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट पे बैठी हैं, संविधान के कुछ नियम है, कायदे कानून है जिसका पालन सबको करना है। आप तो उनके साथ खेल रही हैं, आप मजाक बना रही हैं कि कोई नाटक मंडली है जो काम चल रहा है। ये दिल्ली की सरकार की बात हो रही है और सरकारें संविधान से चलती हैं, नौटंकी से नहीं चलती।
जिस तरीके से आतिशी जी ने स्वयं अपने आप को एक डमी मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में पेश किया है, तो मुझे कोई उम्मीद अब बची नहीं है कि देश की जनता, दिल्ली की, विशेष रूप से दिल्ली की जनता जो ये आस लगाए बैठी थी कि कुछ सरकार जो है वो आगे बढ़ेगी।
The first day of Chief Minister Atishi in office ended in a complete war of words, and this only is set to intensify with the polls in the national capital just round the corner. Now with camera person Pawan Kumar, this is Ishka Verma for NDTV.
Meanwhile, Assam and parts of the northeast are experiencing an unprecedented daytime temperature rise with massive humidity which has caused a heat wave-like condition over a week now. Many cities in this area have registered an all-time high September temperature, breaking records of 55 years. In some Assam districts, school hours have also been reduced. My colleague Ratadeep Chaudhary has this report.
A major unprecedented heat wave in Assam. From Guwahati to 450 kilometers away in Dibrugarh, Assam is facing its hottest ever autumn. Many places in the state have recorded highest ever September temperatures in over 5 decades, with some weather stations recording almost 40 degrees temperatures. Day temperatures in many parts of the state are 4 to 6 degrees above normal. This has prompted authorities to change school hours. Met Department says the heat is unlikely to go away soon.
आसाम में कई जगह हॉट एंड ह्यूमिड वेदर कंडीशंस है। ये मेनली क्लियर टू पार्टली क्लाउडी स्काई कंडीशंस की वजह से है, जिसके कारण हाई सोलर इंसोलेशन हो रहा है और इस वजह से जो मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर है वो 35 डिग्री सेल्सियस से ऊपर है असम के कुछ इलाकों में।
The hot and humid weather has affected normal life.
असम में जो डिब्रूगढ़ का जगह है ये बहुत ही ठंडा जगह था। पहले चाय का बागान उगान के होने कारण यहाँ में पानी बहुत ही ज़्यादा गिरता था और इस तरह का गर्मी नहीं होता था। आज में भी जो आपका 38 डिग्री सेल्सियस का गर्म है, आदमी बाजार उजार करने के लिए अपना डेली रूटीन के लिए निकल नहीं पा रहा है।
We haven't seen or faced this type of heat, but this time due to, I think, for the global warming, it's causing such a heat. If people are suffering from heat, then maybe if this type of heat stays, people will suffer from heat stroke and like that.
Too many flyovers are being constructed here, also deforestation cases, and like too many vehicles, carbon emissions. So I think these are the sole reasons why this is happening.
Assam is not alone. In Meghalaya, Shillong has recorded highest September temperatures this year. Manipur, parts of Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura have also reported abnormally high temperatures. The ongoing dry spell has resulted in massive heat and humidity, which has increased the concerns over climate change in Assam. The unpredictable climate pattern has only intensified the heat wave condition. With Abhik in Dibrugarh and Sanjay and Madhav in Guwahati, Ratnadeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Well, now moving on to some global news. The conflict between Hezbollah and Israel has escalated. At least 274 people, including 21 children, have been killed and at least 1,000 people wounded in Israeli attacks on Lebanon. This is what the health ministry of the country has said. The death toll includes at least 39 women and a few doctors. Concerns have now erupted over a full-scale war, and this is growing even as Hezbollah has declared a battle of reckoning with Israel. Residents of southern Lebanon, in fact, today received phone alerts ordering them to move away immediately from any post that is used by Hezbollah, even as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has pledged to do whatever it takes to improve the country's security in the north. And amidst all this conflict, the cabinet in Israel has approved a special situation in the country, and US Pentagon Press Secretary has said that US will also be sending additional troops to the Middle East. Well, time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.